An interesting reading from an officer's account of the fighting at Curry Clwyd. This letter from Captain Duncan McLeish, the 1st Victorian contingent, to his brother from Hodenbeck, also on the 1st of May, entices the reader to compare events with his commanding officers. The source is the Argus, Thursday the 14th of June 1900. Quote, "Since I last wrote we have had some fighting. It happened in this wise. On Sunday afternoon, the 29th, Colonel Price received orders to march with all available men to Colonel Henry's camp at Curry Clwyd, to bivouac there in readiness for operations on the morrow. We started on Monday at 4:15 a.m. We had some breakfast, at least the men did. Our cook was too lazy to make a fire, so we had to go out for a hard day's work without breakfast. The plan of operations was generally to occupy country east of Curry Siding. Our regiment, with the weak company of the Cornwalls, had the task of guarding the left flank close to and also opposite Brantford. The column's objective was a flat-topped kopje about 6 miles out of camp. We on the left got orders to advance parallel with the main body, which had a pom-pom with it. We had really to protect the left flank, which was expected to be heavily attacked, a pleasant prospect when we only had 210 all told, including a company of the Cornwalls. These are mounted infantry and at present form part of our colonel's command. They are weak, however, only about 30 all told. About 8:30, I suppose. I did not have time to look at my watch. The Cornwalls, who were in advance, were fired at from a mealie patch. As the fire was getting warm, the colonel ordered me up with my company to support him by prolonging his left. When we dismounted close to the mealies, the bullets were flying about a bit. I dismounted my men and opened fire on the mealies at about 400 yards. After a few minutes, the Boer fire ceased, so we advanced through the mealies on the crest of a long, low ridge, which almost covered the line of our advance at right angles. When we got on to the brow of the hill, we saw some of the enemy in a hollow below us, who opened on us at about 1,500 yards. We returned their fire, and so they cleared away to our left, where they took a pom-pom and tried to outflank us on our left. The colonel, seeing this, ordered up the remaining companies to prevent it. They had not long got into position when the 2 Boer pom-poms opened on our led horses and our men. I can tell you it was warm there. These cursed 1-pounders were bursting all through the horses, several of them being shot. Fortunately, none of the men were hit at this stage. I don't understand why, as there was tremendous rifle fire from the enemy, who by this time must have numbered fully 1,000 to our 200. The odds were too great, so we got the order to return. It came none too soon, as if we had waited another 5 minutes we'd have been practically cut off, or at least would have lost half of our horses. As it was, several were shot and 4 got away. I had none shot and lost none. I can't make it out. When we started, the bullets were as thick as a flight of locusts. There was a continual buzz. I never got a scratch. One of my men, Quartermaster Sergeant Pearce, got a hole through one finger. Another man had one through his ammunition pouch. Several horses were grazed. The other companies lost a good many horses. The Cornwalls lost 12 and had 5 others wounded. They also lost 2 men who were probably shot. Our men brought out about 7 of them behind them. The colonel brought out 1. I tried to bring one out, but he pulled me off my horse. I managed to stick to the reins. I suppose I should have been on the way to Bloemfontein. The man, one of the Cornwalls, had been running and was in a terrible state of funk or exhaustion. He held my stirrup, and instead of catching the cantle of my saddle, he caught me round the waist, and as I had no stirrup, I had to go. All this was going on while the infernal pom-poms were dropping all around and the bullets flying all over the place. I reckon I had a narrow shave of being a prisoner. Of course, in the heat of the fight, we didn't have time to think of the chances, and the whole affair did not last much over an hour. The moment we got mounted, the retire was given, and after all who could run were brought out. We got away pretty quickly for about a mile, the Boers following us at a tremendous pace, firing their rifles from their horses. They followed us for fully a mile and a half, all the time bullets failing amongst us, but no man got hit but poor Lieutenant Lilly, the adjutant. He had got about halfway when a bullet struck him on the forehead, but as it turned out did not penetrate the skull, following it round and coming out near the rear. Holdsworth, who was with him, reported that he was shot dead, but we have just heard that he is at Brantford and able to talk rationally. He's a prisoner, of course, but that's not so bad. His reported death cast quite a gloom over the camp. We were awfully pleased to hear this morning that he's likely to do well. Alright, I've come to a tiny little place. I can't even say its name, but it's something like Darraweit Guim. Darraweit, yeah, Guim, Guim. Say that as you will. Bit of heavy rain's been here. I saw this fella sitting on his own. I thought we'd come over and see what he's about. Then we've got to try and find the school. Fine sculpture, nice seating. Good for a selfie. He's really good, isn't he? Although someone's giving him red eyes. See if I can get a selfie with him. A bit wet underneath. So believe it or not, in this place is a Boer War monument at the school. A bluestone monument. But this is it's not a town, it's just a hamlet. On the map it's just a little dot. And it's a cold, bitterly cold day, although the sun does come out occasionally. Stockdale Reserve, brand new tennis courts for them, so there must be some life here. Alright, well, we're going to look for the school. Stop recording. Just about 100 metres up from the Stockdale Reserve, where we met that fella sitting on the bench, is the primary school, which my monuments website tells me is where the monument to Trooper Mahoney is. Bluestone monument. That's the way they got the pencils for they look like families that contribute here for the primary school. So Thomas Mahoney went to this little bluestone school. He was born in Darraweit Guim in 1879, and he was occupation was a stockman. That must be why this monument is in the school grounds, because he's an old student of the school. This is bluestone. Wilmansrust. Looks like a barbecue, remnants of a barbecue. Where would one start looking? Perimeter? That's a big old tree. That's Boer War era. It's got a little plaque on it. See that? There's no writing on it. Now, a little unsettling is that the monument website didn't have a picture of this monument, just a description of it, but there is wording on it, and of interest to us, it's a Wilmansrust casualty. Trooper Mahoney was killed at Wilmansrust along with the other Victorians. I mean, all this, the school looks brand new. This is their kids' vegetable gardens. They got their scarecrows, a couple of them falling down. Kids would have had a lot of fun making them. Sort of thing I would have liked. Of course, we didn't get that at school when I was around. No, you think they would have it kind of closer to the main road, the monument. Everything looks brand new in this little shire. There's the Aussie footy ground for the kids. Oh, I think I can see it. Okay. I think I can see the monument. Look at this little ground. You could kick a goal from the back line if you had a... Last time I tried to kick a football, I ripped my hamstring out of the bone or something. One stage I thought it would be good for Brian and I to have a footy to kick around when we used to go and see the local teams play. I went and bought a football, and Brian and I had a run for about 5 minutes, and then Brian limped off, and then a second later I was clutching at my leg. Unfortunately, our football was never used again. I can see the monument. It's pretty special. How this boy, from this tiny little place, there could only be 100 people living here, if that, how we would have gone to Wilmansrust. If you haven't seen, Wilmansrust is one that really fascinated me. That was on my must-see list when I sent Alan, my tour guide in Gauteng, what I wanted to see. I put Wilmansrust up the top. What we have here is now heavily mined for coal. If you can see to the left of the screen there, that white little building, that is the remains of a farmhouse called Wilmansrust, and it was on that green in front of that little farmhouse behind the trees, right in the centre of your screen, is where the Australians and the Victorian mounted rifles were camped when they were attacked by the Boers at night, which came to be known as the Wilmansrust disaster. And yeah, we did go and got as close as we could to the Wilmansrust disaster as we could, but it was all coal mining. It's going to be lost soon. They'll dig it up and forget about it. But I've done a couple of episodes on Wilmansrust because one of the reasons being that Billy Smith is remembered in the hall at Sutton Grange, and that's always fascinated me, that portrait of Billy. But look at this, it's got like a Celtic cross on top. Now I'm assuming this is for Trooper Mahone. Yeah, it is. Sleep the sleep that knows not breaking, morn of toil or night of waking. And there is the big Wilmansrust disaster monument in Melbourne that we visited. This boy is 21 years old. The 5th contingent in memoriam. Thomas Mahoney, action at Wilmansrust, South Africa, June the 12th, 1901, age 21. A little bit of writing down here, it's hard to see. That's who made the monument, I suppose. Jesus, it's cold. Soldier rest, thy warfare o'er. Dream of fighting fields no more. Yeah, right. Erected by public subscription. So I'll read out what we have on the monument. Have a look at it from a bit of a distance. See that? Like a Celtic cross up the top there. In fact, Mahoney sounds like it might be Irish. I'll get a self-portrait. This is from the memorial website. The memorial commemorates Thomas Henry Mahoney, a soldier who was killed in the South African Boer War. Thomas Mahoney was a former pupil at the school. This is from the Argus of Melbourne, the 12th of June 1902. A monument to the late trooper Thomas Mahoney, who was killed in the Wilmansrust disaster in South Africa last year, was unveiled in the state school grounds of Darraweit Guim on Wednesday afternoon. Although the weather was very unpropitious, there was a very large gathering, amongst whom was Trooper J. Mahoney, who was in the camp at Wilmansrust on the night his brother and others were killed. The monument is a substantial bluestone one, occupies a prominent position in the centre of the township, and bears a suitable inscription. Oh, it's nice to find a monument again after the few setbacks we've had with other places that couldn't find them or they were locked up. Look at all this play equipment though, it's all brand new. This school's got bloody heaps of funding, and there couldn't be many kids come here. I've noticed that the original school is bluestone too. I guess that's bluestone, that monument, or is it granite? Yeah. Feeling a bit down in the dumps today. We're right in the heart of winter. I had a terrible night's sleep. I've got stuff going through my head, which is chitter chatter for nonsense, and I wake up today, turn on my laptop and read news, and it's not a good day for news. And I'm filled with fear. Not filled, sorry, I need to reword that. There is fear in me, but I'm not alone. I think a lot of the world is experiencing fear. Look at this for the kids. A little sand pit, and for the, well, I was going to say for the girls, but not necessarily. The little kiddies can stimulate or simulate slaving at the stove. The little pots and pans. I reckon some of these trees were planted when Mahoney left for South Africa. Yeah, so Wilmansrust, I just drifted off on a bit of personal baggage there. Wilmansrust, the Australians, or the 5th contingent, they were like a lightning reaction force. They were escorting convoys, as I remember, and there were Boers in the vicinity, and the British commander split them up. And they were supposed to be a fast mounted infantry unit. And they split off from the main unit to chase these Boers. And they camped in a sort of in front of a farm. The farm was called Wilmansrust. And at night they were illuminated by the fires. Looks like the old shop over here. They were illuminated by the fires, and the ground fell away in front of them, right? And the Boers were able to creep up as it was dark and attack at night, which they normally didn't do. And they rushed the camp, shot some of the Australians in their tents while they were sleeping or getting ready for bed. The soldiers had all been told to put their rifles, stack them up together, so the rifles weren't at hand when the Boers attacked. Look at this. Would have been the general store for Darraweit. Now it's been renovated. Unlikely that it'll ever open again, you'd think, as a general store, but it might. Lots of, looks like pink bats, asbestos in there. Of course, this old pepper tree would have been here probably when Mahoney went. Well, I doubt there'd be any more. I doubt there'd be any shops here or petrol station or anything. I don't think so. So there's the Bluestone School. It's got a fireplace in there by the look of it. But most of the rest of the school is brand new. There's sort of new learning facilities being erected at the back there. There's a bluestone shed there for the tennis club, which once again all the courts are brand new. So somehow they got a lot of funding, this little place. It's cute, isn't it? Darraweit Guim. Guam. Right, so we found Mahoney. It was a fantastic monument. And I'm probably an hour from home, so it's not that far from here. It missed out on my attention because when I was going through my maps of looking for these monuments, I had it written down, but I've never come across it. Unless you look for it on the map. As I said, it's a tiny little dot. Just noticing these families that are mentioned on this fence for the school. I'll just show you this. McIver is a family that's quite well known in Heathcote, near where I live. I don't have a lot to show you in this episode, so I'll just show you this for a moment. These might be families that have contributed to this school for all the infrastructure. And that's the McIvers. And I wonder, there's that old, I don't know if I've shown you guys, but I've got this old from 1916. It's a calendar from a general store in Heathcote, which is the Farleys. Now the Farleys were and still are, a very influential family in Heathcote. I'm just wondering if they're mentioned. And that, I got the calendar from a second-hand shop coming back from one of our adventures one time, Brian and I stopped at this sort of antique shop, and they had this old calendar from 1916, World War One, with a battle scene on it. And I checked with the Historical Society, and it used to be in the general store that the Farleys had in Heathcote. As I said, there are still Farleys there. I can't see that they've contributed to this, but anyway, the essence of the story I'm getting at is that they contacted me a couple of years ago. They said, we believe you've got the calendar from the family shop. And I said, yeah, I do. They said, well, we really would like it as a family. We wouldn't like to lose it. And I said, look, I don't want to give it away at the moment. But I said, if something happens, I'll definitely make sure you guys get first dibs at it. You can have it back. So that's the story. But anyway, I can't see the Farleys mentioned there. So this is Darraweit Guim, as I said. Great little place. It was a superb monument. Wasn't at all disappointed with the monument. It was everything I hoped for, maybe more. So alright, I'm signing over from a cold winter's day. Cold. I could say depressing, but it needn't be depressing. There are good things happening in the world and in my life, so I've got to remember those, and these feelings will pass. Alright, signing off. Stop recording.